We picture the Sahara Desert as an endless, blistering ocean of dry sand. It looks like the ultimate permanent wasteland, a landscape that has always been empty and always will be. But deep in the Egyptian desert, hundreds of miles from the nearest coast, lies a place called Wadi al-Hitan, the Valley of the Whales. 40 million years ago, this bone-dry, arid wasteland was the floor of a warm, shallow sea. We know this because you can find massive marine bones, perfectly preserved exactly where the creatures sank. Looking near the tail of this ocean giant reveals an anomaly: tiny back legs that serve absolutely no purpose for swimming. These vestigial limbs are a physical leftover, capturing a species caught directly in the middle of evolution. It was actively adapting its body, evolving away from the terrestrial ancestors that used to walk on solid ground. You don't even have to go back millions of years to find anomalies in this sand. Much closer to the modern era, humans carved thousands of rock paintings deep in the desert. The artwork depicts people swimming and hunting alongside hippos. Hippos require massive amounts of permanent water to survive. Their historical presence here proves that the largest hot desert on Earth is lying to us. The sand is not a permanent fixture. It is a temporary phase in a much larger cycle. Just a few thousand years ago, around the time the first Egyptian pyramids were being planned, the Sahara was a thriving green savanna. The landscape was dotted with permanent lakes and rivers. Then, a sudden climate shift completely shut off the seasonal rains. The heavy vegetation died, and sand rapidly swallowed the entire landscape within the living memory of early human civilization. Even in its current dry phase, the Sahara is highly volatile. Because desert air has almost zero humidity, there is no atmospheric blanket to trap the heat of the day. At sundown, that heat escapes straight into space, causing the temperature of the sand to plummet toward freezing. If a rare northern winter storm dips aggressively south, it pushes massive amounts of moisture into this localized nighttime freeze. The water vapor instantly condenses, falling onto the orange dunes as actual snow. Ice crystals physically interlock with the sand ripples. The world's ultimate symbol of blistering heat can turn into a frozen white landscape overnight. The modern Sahara also plays an active mechanical role in the survival of other continents. The Amazon is the greenest place on Earth, but its soil is surprisingly dead. The rainforest floor badly lacks phosphorus, a critical nutrient that plants require to survive. The secret to keeping the rainforest alive starts with millions of tons of dry Sahara desert sand, which happens to be incredibly rich in that exact missing phosphorus. Every year, intense desert winds scoop 180 million tons of sand into a massive airborne cloud. Continuous transatlantic wind currents hit this cloud, catching the dust and acting as an invisible atmospheric river. They push it thousands of miles west, where it settles directly over the Amazon canopy, delivering the exact phosphorus the roots need. The most vibrant, greenest ecosystem on Earth relies entirely on a continuous supply of airborne fertilizer from the driest, most barren landscape on Earth. Curious. So what unseen planetary force dictates these extreme swings between a shallow ocean, a green savanna, and a dry desert? This planetary model illustrates a continuous 20,000-year cycle, driven entirely by a slow, physical wobble in the tilt of Earth's axis. Over millennia, this gradual wobble changes the exact angle and amount of sunlight hitting North Africa. That shifting sunlight acts as a giant atmospheric engine, physically pulling the region's entire heavy rain belt directly over the desert. The endless barren sand stretching across the continent right now exists simply because humanity happens to be living during the dry phase of this 20,000-year cycle. Thousands of years from now, that axial wobble will continue its rotation. It will shift the seasonal storms back, and the Sahara will bloom into an overflowing, lush green landscape once more. Deserts are not static graves of permanent sand. They are temporary, breathing features of a deeply interconnected planet.